Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another One Beer Chat. These are my favorite One Beer Chats. Successful hunt, killed a giant buck, at least for Southwest Michigan, you guys. This is a giant to me. He's my biggest buck by far. And I still can't believe that it happened. I can't believe the way it happened. And I honestly, I'm still shocked at how big he is. Again, for me, you guys, this is my biggest buck by probably 20 inches. So I want to tell you guys the story because it was a super cool hunt. It was a crazy hunt and the way it all worked out. The evening before, you grab a beer. If it's not, if it's the morning, whatever, pop, coffee, whatever it is, cheers to another One Beer Chat. All right, so you guys want to see him? I really want to show him to you guys. Check this out. Here he is. Just a stud, especially for this area, man. Just an absolute stud. He's got a ton of mass, ton of character. So he's almost 19 inches wide. He's got really good main beams, both main beams. One is like 20-something inches. The other one's 21-something. He carries just a ton of mass. He's got like 5 inches of mass down at his bases. And then he carries that mass, especially on this antler. He's got almost 5 inches right here on this big palmation and this knot, but just mass throughout the whole thing. Good tine length. He's got these super cool, I mean, just these big knife blade, one, huge knife blade brow tine. The other one's bladed too, and then it's split. He's technically a 9-point. This is not quite an inch, but it's close to an inch, so I'm calling him a 10-point. And I mean, just in that, like, seriously, you guys, I can't believe I'm sitting here holding this deer in front of you because I did not think I was going to get something of this caliber where I was hunting this year at any of my properties. And you guys, public land. I shot this buck on public land. That's part of the, the cool part of the story. So all in all, he scored 138.25 inches. And I'm just still tickled to death with this thing. So let me tell you guys the story of him. So like last time we talked, I was preaching to you guys as much as I was preaching to myself about just keep hammering, keep grinding, just keep getting after it. Because I was struggling, you guys. I really was. Like, I was not seeing deer on stand that were even close to something that I wanted to shoot. I had plenty of them on camera. I had plenty of them at different spots. And I was ping-ponging around. I just was not catching up with them. I had a good hunt Saturday the 11th behind my house. I caught up with the biggest buck back there, or at least saw him. He's a really nice 3.5-year-old, just perfectly typical 10-point. He's not as big as this deer, but he's a beauty. And he's bed down with the doe. I had a great hunt with him. We were playing a lot of cat and mouse, me just trying to kind of ping pong around stands as they were kind of moving between cover and stuff. And I never got inside of 50 yards of him, but it was a good hunt. And then it was just ice cold the next morning. I hunted out there till 1 o'clock the next morning in a different spot, in a thicker spot. I kind of dove into my woods a little bit more and I didn't see anything. So I was a little bummed. I was like, crap, man, that might've been my chance, because bucks like that behind my house, you really like once during daylight, maybe twice if you're lucky. So to see him and to have him right there, I was kind of kicking myself for maybe not trying to be a little more aggressive, but it just didn't work out. So I was wanting to mix it up. And we've got this public land spot, and it's really cool. And like, for real, this buck was a team effort in that me, my buddy Chad and my buddy Nick have scouted this spot and hunted in this area for a couple of years now. And we've got some shared cell cams out there. So we scout together, we hunt out there together, we, share intel, the camera, the cell cams, when they ping, they come to all of our phones. So we kind of game plan with each other. And earlier in the week, my buddy Chad, he hadn't been out much and was just kind of trying to figure out where he should go. And I told him, I was like, dude, go dive into that scrape and that thick stuff. Just see what happens. Like, we need to learn some stuff in there. So just go get in there. And he did. He hunted it a couple of mornings and he had great action. He saw some nice bucks. He thinks he saw this buck one of those days that he was in there. And it was just too thick for him to get a shot, where kind of how he set up. I mean, it's a tough spot. It's a sweet spot, but man, it's a tough one, just with kind of where you got to be and how you got to figure out shooting lanes and stuff. So knowing that, I hadn't been in there yet, I messaged those guys and I was like, hey, I'm going to go hunt that spot if you guys aren't, or if you guys want to, if you guys want to go out together or whatever. Like, I got to mix it up. I want to learn some more about that spot too. It sounds like you were having some good action. Like, I kind of want to mix it up and just see what happens in there. So I went. Nick and Chad didn't come out with me. So I tried getting in there, and Chad had hunted in the mornings. I tried getting in the afternoon. So I got there at about 3. I started working my way in, and man, when I was trying to get into the area, this thick area, and I guess maybe I should describe that first. It's just a thick, nasty, nappy area that we found kind of just like a little open pocket in. And right in that open pocket's a big community scrape. And we stuck a cell cam on there, and we've just gotten good pictures. It's just kind of a tough spot to like legitimately get into and hunt. But Chad got in there. He had some good hunts, so I wanted to try it too. It definitely is not a spot to try to get into in the afternoon, though. I was going in, and it was so hard to be quiet. There's just so many leaves on the ground. There were briars. There was just all kinds of crap. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. And, you know, as soon as I think that, and as soon as I start getting up to that scrape or kind of where I wanted to be, I bumped deer. I don't know what they were. I just heard them get up. I heard them bound, and I saw a couple tails. And I was like, crap, they were bedding in here. And Chad had said, he's like, I think there's some deer bedding in like the northwest corner of this stuff. And we didn't really know. We didn't really know if it was a bedding area for like mature bucks like this. We didn't really know if it was kind of held some does, and it was just a thick area that bucks felt comfortable pushing does into during the rut. We didn't really know. And Chad was right. There were some deer bedded in there. And once I bumped them, I was like, crap, man, there's no sense in me sitting right here right now. I kind of made just a quick decision to get out of there. I kind of got out of there as quick as I could, same way I came in, and I just looped back around this bedding area, or this thick stuff. And after the thick stuff, it kind of just turns into like open hardwoods, like pretty open hardwoods. So I circled around and kind of got around to the direction of where these deer ran, because I didn't know. I felt like they would kind of want to stay in this area, this thicker stuff, and not go tromping through just the wide open timber. And I got around to the west side of it, and I just decided, like, I just need to like set up and just be quiet, be done making noise, because it was so still and there were so many leaves. So I just sat down at the base of a tree. I was turkey hunting. I literally just sat on my butt at the base of this big pine. I broke, as I was sitting down, I could see just kind of a couple branches. I broke a couple just to give me like one little lane, because I was only like 10 yards off of the edge of this thick stuff. And it's a pretty hard edge to where it goes from that thick area to the open timber. And that branch I broke gave me like one lane that I felt like if some deer were kind of working the edge of it, I could at least shoot like 25, maybe 30 yards through just that one lane. The other stuff was going to be like really close on that hard edge, or if they actually exited the thicket to my left and right, because I was basically right at the start of the hardwoods. I had plenty of shooting lanes left and right of me. So I sat down. I was quiet. When I sat down, I was actually really happy that when I sat, I realized the wind, either it had shifted or it was just not what the prevailing wind was supposed to be. So it was supposed to be a southwest, and I was approaching from the east side of this and was going to kind of get in there and, blow my wind southwest and not get it, or blow my wind, up into the northeast corner, not get it into that northwest corner where Chad thought deer were bedding. When I came around, the wind was actually blowing like southwest. So had I gotten even clean to where I wanted to be, the wind would have been bad. And honestly, I might not have even realized it buried into that thick stuff, but I would have been blowing my wind right where this deer basically ended up being. So I sat down and I was like, okay, well, at least like wind wise, I'm going to be good. Outside of what I just bumped or however much disturbance I just did the rest of the night, my wind is going to be good. And then you guys, like, it's a flip of a switch. It all happened. So I was sitting there 10 minutes on the ground, like I'm turkey hunting up against the base of a pine tree. I've got my crossbow and I just hear just a little ch, ch, ch. And at first I thought it was a squirrel because it was kind of just a few and then it was quiet. And then it was constant, just ch, 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 ch. And I knew then, I'm like, okay, there's a deer coming. So I got my crossbow up and just at the edge, I could just see feet and I could see antler. And it was a decent amount of antler. And I was like, holy cow, this is actually a buck. And so from the time I saw, that flash of antler to the time I shot was probably like no more than 10 seconds. It was like 10 seconds. He was right on the edge. So 10 yards. And he was walking, when I very first saw him, parallel to me. And me transpiring all this, I'm telling you guys this, but literally it all transpired in about 10 seconds, if not less. I'm like, okay, he's walking this hard edge. The wind's blowing from the south, so it's like perfect for him. My wind's missing him. Hopefully he's just going to walk this edge in this one lane that I know is clear. He's going to step into that, and I'm going to shoot him, whatever he is. I could see it was enough antler to be like, yes, this is a buck I'm going to shoot, especially on public land. Well, he kind of just has his head down. He's in the thick stuff, and he turns and just starts walking right towards me. And I'm watching all of this through my scope. And as soon as he exits, or is basically right on the edge, right on that hard line of the thick stuff to the open timber, he picks his head up. And when he does, I see through my scope that I've got a window, and it's probably about this big, and it's right on his like chest and neck. And so I just put it basically just above where like his neck meets his chest, frontal shot straight on 10 yards. I touched it off, and you guys, he just went like, oh, and just dropped. He dropped. I was like, what just happened? And as he basically dropped and he's kind of kicking around, that's when I could actually see how big he was. And I could not believe it. I was like, holy cow, what did I just do? And he kept, he was kicking around for a minute. And as I'm processing all this, because it happened so fast, my brain wasn't functioning, well at all, because I'm taking all of this in. I didn't even have a chance to get nervous, but once he's on the ground, then it was just like a flood of, adrenaline and emotions. I ran up really quick because I'm like, hey, you dropped him. That means you hit something like nervous system. You hit his neck, you hit his spine, you hit whatever. So I cocked my crossbow again. I ran right up. I put another shot in him just to make sure all was good. And that was it. And when I walked up to you guys, I just absolutely could not believe it. I could not believe it. So what I ended up doing was my shot was exactly where I wanted it to be. It was centered, dead center in his neck and chest. It hit basically right through his trachea. It severed his whatever it is, the femoral or whatever it is, the arteries running up into the neck. Because I was lower than him, it actually kind of angled up into him, and it hit his spine, and that's what dropped him. It was crazy. I know frontal shots are a little, they can be controversial and stuff, but I felt very fine taking that at 10 yards, especially with a deer that is basically going to walk into my lap or see me. I don't know if he saw me when he picked his head up. He very well could have, because we were literally staring at each other. So I took that shot. I'm glad I did. I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I'm glad I just ran up and put a second, verification shot on him to make sure he was going to expire quickly and nothing crazy was going to happen with it being, a spinal hit. But man, you guys, it was crazy. That was my standard setup. My broadhead was just absolutely buried into his into his spine. That Sirius Phoenix arrow, right around 500 grains, maybe a little bit. Yeah, actually, it's right about 500 with that 150 grain Magnus Stinger 2-blade. I mean, it just completely buried into there. I couldn't get it out. I mean, his neck was huge. And after I cleaned him up and stuff, I could just feel like he snapped basically the arrow off right at the back of right at like the ferrule of the broadhead. I could just feel it up in there, but I couldn't get it out. So that was, a testament to that type of a setup, being able to use that on a shot like this. Everybody's got to take shots they're comfortable with. I know there'll probably be some comments about the frontal shots and stuff like that. That's totally fine. Like, if that's not a shot you're comfortable taking, don't take it. It is definitely a high risk, high reward. But I put it right where it needed to be, and he dropped right in his tracks. That's all of that. That is not at all how I thought me harvesting a buck, let alone the biggest buck of my life, would go down. And you guys, that is truly just a testament of just keep hammering, just keep grinding, keep mixing it up if you have to. Just keep at it, because you never know what's going to happen. I thought 100% that spot was spoiled. I kind of just wanted to learn. I was hoping maybe I would just see some deer work around that thicket, not the ones that I spooked, but some other stuff. And it was literally, I was just like, it's a beautiful night. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to gain some more intel on this spot. And it turned out 10 minutes later, the biggest buck of my life is on the ground. So that is how fast it can happen. That is how, random the rut can be, or how even if you think you spoil a spot, and making quick decisions, or making quick adjustments, just being kind of nimble. That's how I got it done. A lot of time in the woods, and just, mixing it up. I got to there's a lot of thank yous that go into harvesting this deer. The first one is to the good Lord for blessing me with this, because not only, is he just a beautiful deer as far as antler, his antlers go, but we got he was a huge body deer too. The amount of meat we got off of him is just an absolute blessing. I got to thank, Chad and Nick for, being awesome about how we've scouted and shared intel. And, this is not a buck that we have on camera. This is one that we have, Chad thinks he has seen, but there's other ones in there. So we're hopefully, we're probably going to hunt that some more. We'll see how gun season turns out, but we're definitely learning some stuff in this spot, and hopefully we can pull some more out of there, because it really seems promising. And I also have to thank my wife. She is such a trooper, so supportive of me running around chasing these things. She was even one that was just like, just have fun out there. Like, just relax a little bit. It's okay. Just hunt your hunts and have fun. And that was a great reminder, because I did. And you know what? It panned out. But just for her to hold the fort down, for her to support me doing it, for her excitement, my son's excitement when I brought this thing home, it was all worth it. I could not do it without her. That's for sure. And so I love you, Lean. Thank you, babe, because could not do it without you and all your support. So you guys, that's the story. That's the story of this guy. I'm still, like I said, I'm still in shock that it all panned out that way, that I got him, and that, he's going to the taxidermist here in a couple of days, and I can't wait to get him back. I think he's a 4.5-year-old. I don't know for sure. I struggle judging deer. For me personally, beyond like the 2.5s and 3.5s, that I feel like I can decipher pretty well, because I haven't ever seen a deer with this much mass, or this much beam and character and all that kind of stuff. And this is kind of a league above what I'm used to chasing. So I'm so happy, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I hope you guys enjoyed that hunt. And again, it's just a testament. If you're still struggling, man, I was struggling all season until that 10-second window where everything completely changed, where my season went from kind of a drag to me, seeing a bunch of people on YouTube or Facebook or whatever posting huge bucks that they're getting, like I wasn't one of them. And then literally 10 seconds, 10 minutes into a hunt, it completely changed. So that can happen to you too. I can't guarantee anything, obviously, but you just got to keep at it. You just got to stay after it. Try some new spots, try some new stuff. Hunt smart, hunt aggressive if you need to, ping pong around, or continue to just hunt the spots that are good access that you can get into and get hunts in, because man, things can change so fast. You just got to be out there. You got to be out there, keep hammering, keep grinding, because it can pay off. It really can. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you enjoyed drinking another beer with me, because I certainly enjoyed doing these. These ones are obviously my favorite. And if you did like it, you guys, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for our next video coming up soon. Take care out there. Good luck in the woods, you guys. God bless. And remember, be a sportsman, make a sportsman.